Hey, welcome back to the Vikings Playbook. I'm your host, Steve Hoikkala, and we have another exciting edition of the Vikings Playbook with my guest today, which is no other than former Vikings quarterback Kyle Sloter. Again, your Sunday always starts here with Vikings Playbook. Make sure you guys are tuning in. Follow us on X, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you're not already, make sure that you're a subscriber so you're in for that opportunity to win that Jordan Addison jersey. Once we hit 250 subs, we're going to go ahead and do a raffle for that autographed jersey. We have some more giveaways during the season. And if you're not already checking out what we're writing over at purpleptsd.com, make sure you do that. We have great writers over there, not just myself, but check out what we're writing daily to keep you up to date with your Minnesota Vikings. This episode of the Minnesota Vikings podcast would not be possible without sponsors as well, too. So one of our sponsors that's back this year is no other than Badass Wood Art. Vikings Playbook is brought to you by our podcast sponsor. That's Badass Wood Art. Go to their website and use code PLAYBOOK to receive 10% off on any products on their website. That's pretty badass. And we're ready for our guest.
Bit of a high snap. Sloter will lock one of the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown. It's Kyle Sloter for the pylon, and he got there. Touchdown, Vikings. To the next snap. Yeah. And how about Sloter getting just destroyed from behind, getting up, scrambling.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and bring on our guest, Kyle Sloter, to the stage. And Kyle, how are we doing today?
I don't know. Audio-wise, I can't hear you.
Oh, did
Steve,
you lose audio?
got me?
Yep, I got you.
You
You're
have
good?
me?
Yep.
I can't hear you for some reason. Let's see what we got going on here.
Check, test.
Let me 1 second here.
Yeah, no problem. Just let me know once you got me.
I don't know what's going on.
I can hear you just fine.
Got me now?
Yep,
I
got
can't hear you.
I got you.
It's crazy.
Can you hear me now? That's weird. We just
I
had each other a
I
second
heard the
ago.
video, but now I can't hear you.
Weird. Do you mind trying to jump out and then jump back in? Maybe that's the issue.
Are you saying go out and come back in?
Yeah, try jumping out and jumping back in.
Maybe try that. All right.
Because I can hear you. All right. So while we're waiting for Kyle to jump in, let's check out where Kyle's been. So former Vikings quarterback Kyle Sloter. So he was a backup quarterback here with the Vikings. He spent some time with the Broncos, and we saw what Kyle was able to do with Denver, and that made him a highly sought after prospect for the Vikings, who, went and paid to bring Kyle over to our practice squad and as a backup quarterback for us. Kyle, can you hear me okay?
I got you now. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, that's I have no idea what happened. It could be on my end too. But then you spent time, Kyle, with the Cardinals, the Lions, Bears, Raiders, Jaguars, and then some UFL teams with the Breakers, Renegades, Stallions, and obviously a lot of your time that you spent here in Minnesota. And again, there was the chant that was always either on social media or even on the field was, during preseason was, free Kyle Sloter. So there was a reason for that. And that was because every time we saw you play it in preseason football, you were lighting it up. You saw that on even just some of the plays that we showed right before bringing you on. But you're an exciting guy to watch for sure. And I don't know why I lost you there for a second. There we go. But you're an exciting guy to watch on the field, and it's very exciting to have you in with Vikings Playbook today. So thanks for joining us. Definitely
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I really appreciate you. This is it's fun for me to come back and be able to talk all things Vikings. Had a great experience when I was there in Minnesota, and the fans are pretty near and dear to my heart. I feel the most like a Viking, I would say, just because of my time spent there. I got to spend 3 years there, and um, yeah, a lot of fun.
Now, those of you that are watching, if you're following us on YouTube, I can see all your guys' questions. If you're not on YouTube, you're watching on X, that's great. But if you go ahead and jump over to our YouTube feed, I can see any of the questions you guys want to ask Kyle that we can go ahead and bring up during his time with us today. And thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And Kyle, the very first thing that we're going to talk about, because obviously, you have some things that we have questions for you because we haven't seen you in a little while. So we got
Yeah.
a lightning round for you. I got some quick questions to fire at you. You go ahead and give me your best answers that you possibly have for it, and this is going to be our lightning round for you.
Sounds
And
good.
first rapid fire question I got for you is: now, when you were here, who's your favorite teammate during your time in Minnesota when you were playing?
Favorite teammate.
Mhm.
Hard to choose one. I'll rattle off a few. I would say Anthony Barr, Eric Kendricks, Harrison Smith, Dalvin Cook. Um, geez. I was such a good locker room, and I think that's what made us such a great team when I was there. Everybody really cared about one another. But I would say that Anthony Barr, he was in my wedding, somebody that I keep in contact with every day. Was probably my best friend from the team.
What about you're at practice, you're playing. Who's that defender that just during practice was just always either in your face or just a hard defender to go against? In the defensive backfield, who is that
Yeah,
most difficult defender to go against?
it's funny you asked that because I just said this the other day to somebody. So Caleb Downs, who's just drafted by the Cowboys, I've known his family for a long time. His dad was my offensive coordinator in high school, so I've known him since he was running around in diapers. Um, and so I was telling him that Harrison Smith, two safeties there. Harrison Smith is easily the toughest defender that I've gone against, really in practice or in games. And I think it comes down to obviously gifted physically, but I would say that, he would say that his best attributes are between the ears, his football IQ and understanding for the game. There's some guys that just have this innate ability of knowing where to be. And it felt like every time the ball left your hand, he was either around it, breaking it up, or picking it off. And so he is a really, really special player and a first ballot Hall of Famer in my mind. One of the best safeties, I think top two safeties of all time.
Absolutely, one of my favorite players as well. Now we got some questions from the audience in here too. Kyle, what's your favorite Vikings memory from Anderson, my age?
Uh, I would say easily the Minneapolis Miracle. I think the roller coaster of emotion there, the historical significance. Um, yeah, I mean, to me, it's the single greatest play in playoff history. I know that there's some that have won championships, but I think for me, it holds a little bit more higher regard just because I was there.
So being in the sideline before that play was called, can you just take us back for a moment? Like, what was the feeling on the sideline? Was it upbeat? Like, hey, we got a chance. Was it semi defeated because the odds of making a play like that to win the game are out, or what was that like?
Yeah, I think defeated was probably more so the feeling than upbeat. Obviously, we're all pros and we're trying to not let those thoughts creep in. But, I can't remember the exact time on the clock, but we get the ball at the 25 or the 30 with like, you got like 25 seconds left. I think we rattled off 2 plays. So now we're probably sitting there with like 14 seconds before the last play. But it was an instance where you could hear a pin drop in the stadium because we blew a huge lead. I mean, it was like 21 or 22-0 or something like that. And then there was a back and forth. They make a field goal to go ahead. We make a field goal to go ahead. They go on a long drive to go up 1 or 2, whatever it was, where we need a field goal. I think it was to tie or to can't remember the exact final score. A lot of emotions and things going on there, but I'm gonna sound like LeBron James here. There was something in terms of his like, I knew this was gonna happen. Like, how people give him a little bit of crap for that. I had this weird feeling that like I said to a couple of the guys on the sideline, I was just like, it feels like something crazy is gonna happen. And so the play call was gun bunch right, 2 jet, 7 heaven. And that's exactly what ended up happening, was a miracle, heaven sent. It's kind of prophetic that it's ended up being the play call for such a play to happen. So very cool moment.
Purple Dopes podcast. Thanks for joining us. Says obviously the $1 million question is, what was your welcome to the NFL moment?
Welcome to the NFL moments. Probably, geez, for a quarterback, that's coming. There's a few that come to mind, but I'll just give you one. And it's not probably what you think, where it's this huge, massive hit or something like that, which those have happened. I would say, as a rookie, when you're coming in from college, because college nowadays, I don't think what people understand is like, you're not really taught football at the intricate level that you are in the NFL until you get to the NFL. Like, people go to college, and it's probably more likened to high school in college than it is the NFL. It's very basic, very simple. I mean, coaches are holding up like these big note cards to like do these fast tempo offenses where, in the NFL, everybody has to have, you have to be in the huddle because it's so intricate. There's so many different things that you have to be able to communicate effectively that you can only get out of a huddle, as opposed to signaling things and doing all that stuff with your hands and trying to play fast. And so I remember I was in an offense like that at Northern Colorado, and I remember being there day one with all the veterans when they say, "All right, Kyle, you're taking these last 2 reps. Here's a 17-word play call with a kill for another play call if we get cover 2 or a bear front or safety rotation, what have you." So I remember Mike McCoy giving me like the longest play call you've ever seen in your life on my very first time in the huddle with all these veterans. And it was kind of similar to the clip that goes around with, I think it was Chris Sims and John Gruden, where he's like, trying to tell the huddle the correct formation, the play, the protection, where everybody's supposed to line up, all that kind of stuff. And I was just like, I mean, you don't know what to do. You're helpless in that situation. I have to keep going back out of the huddle, grab the play, go back, mess it up again, go back, grab it, mess it up again. And at a certain point, we just had to read it off. And that's just a skill that you get from obviously doing it over and over, but then also you practice and understand the playbook. So it's something that it comes with time. But I think that's probably what a lot of rookies struggle with immediately. And as a quarterback, that was a moment where I was just a deer in headlights.
So I got sent a question on X, and this was from SKOL State of Mind. He also does a podcast. Go check him out, D Woods. His main question for you is, does most player development happen because of the work of a player and they put in on their own during the offseason, or is it driven more about what the NFL coaches accomplish during organized team activities, mini camp, and training camp?
Yeah, I think it's both. Obviously, you're going to get a lot of so it depends on who you are. So if I'm first round pick, JJ McCarthy, we've read about, or like, I guess in the same instance, first overall pick, Kyler Murray. I was with Kyler in Arizona. Um, you're going to get all the coaching. So like you're going to, hey, the extra meetings, come sit down with me. Head coach has an extra hour. Want you to be in here, talk to me. What are you seeing? What are you not understanding? For me, and I think this is why a lot of guys that are like your fifth round quarterback pick and later, um, and I'm speaking strictly to quarterbacks. I think it probably pertains to other positions. There are guys that they're getting ready to play on Sundays, like coming up in the fall time. And then there's guys that are going to be secondary, that they're going to be backups. They're going to be, and they truly just they don't have the time and bandwidth to spend the same amount of time with everyone. So if you're going to make it as a guy that's a fifth round pick or later, you're going to have to be somebody that really, because I'm not standing up in a meeting with Kirk Cousins and saying, "Hey, go back. I need to understand this." Like, no, I'm not disrupting the flow. Kirk already understands it. I need to put in the extra time, effort, and work and maybe find my coach or maybe ask Kirk or maybe, "Hey, what did he mean right here?" to like, so I don't disrupt the flow of things. So, yes, you get a lot of coaching. There's going to be a lot of times, just like when you're learning anything, as in like, say, school. Hey, I don't understand calculus. I need extra help. I need tutoring. I need these types of things. It takes a lot of work on your own. And you also have to be outgoing and seek the information yourself from your coaches. So, yeah, it depends a little bit. Long answer, but it depends a little bit on who you are, where you're drafted, and what their plans are for you.
Well, you definitely have some fans in the comments. You're getting called the preseason GOAT. I think some of these comments would like to still see you on the team as well. This is going to lead into, some of the things that you said is going to lead into the next segment that we have. And I have one more sponsor I want to go ahead and recognize. The Vikings Playbook Podcast is brought to you by SportsLegendsUSA.com. Check out their website for all of your Minnesota Vikings legends, upcoming appearances, and signings. And remember to use code PLAYBOOK for 15% off in their shop for your favorite merchandise. Sports Legends USA. All right. So the next topic I want to talk, so I didn't really realize, I guess now that you say it, because you did spend some time with the Cardinals,
Mhm.
you do have some familiarity with Kyler Murray.
Yeah,
So obviously this quarterback competition is going to be, um, the probably the biggest quarterback competition that we've had in a long, long time
for
here
sure.
in Minnesota. So obviously that's the big thing that everyone wants to talk about. It's going to make everyone's ears bleed by the end of at least middle of training camp, where I expect after the first week or two, we might have a decision made, because at some point you got to decide which one of these guys is going to start to get all of the first team reps, or the
For
majority
sure.
of them, to make sure that they're ready for the regular season. So, uh, going back and forth on these guys, obviously the season that JJ McCarthy had, you got to take
Yeah,
into consideration that there was, some value by drafting him and actually going up a
yeah,
pick to get him. But now he's in year 3. He's had issues with injuries. He's had some issues with last year in the games that he plays. He's had 10 starts. Accuracy needs to improve. Obviously, trying to layer in the ball. That is something that he's tried to work on as well in the offseason with quarterback coach John Beck, and spending, quite a bit of time there. And also, I think just, JJ McCarthy, the mechanics was a big conversation talker during 2025. Looks like he's worked on that. But again, that's on 7-on-7. And it's, you don't have a guy in your face that's touching you, right?
yeah,
So we get into, Kyler Murray, and in minicamp, he's trying to learn a new offense, and you can probably talk to how difficult KOC's offense is, as far as trying to pick it up, to learn it, or even just picking up a new offense in general, going from team to team. As you've been on several different teams, trying to pick up a new offense is probably not an easy thing. How long maybe that takes, but Kyler trying to pick that up. He's had a few interceptions. Yes, they were 7-on-7, and not 11 on 11, but some people say 7 on 7 is even just that's where you really find out maybe what you're going to have. But, he's also trying to learn the offense. So,
Yeah.
Just initially on the surface, what are some of your initial thoughts on the quarterback competition between these two guys? And when do you think we actually have a named starter?
Yeah. I think in terms of learning an offense, um, every offense is a little bit different. There's some nuances. So Kevin O'Connell, I'm not familiar with Jonathan Gannon and what Kyler Murray went through there. Kevin O'Connell comes from a coaching tree that is very popular in terms of offense. So I bounced around to like 3 or 4 different teams that all ran the same style of offense. And so for me, it was relatively easy to go in there and pick up what they were doing. Um, I don't know that Kyler has had exposure to it, but once you get it, you kind of understand where like the bones are buried on any given play. And that's really what that's what you're looking for. You're trying to understand that, hey, I want to on any given play, I know I'm going to get really 5 different types of coverages. I'm going to get cover 1, 2, 3, or 4 or pressure. And then in any of those scenarios and situations, where is the answer? And so as he continues to get more familiar with that, I think he's also going to be hit, which is kind of exciting. I think Kyler is going to be hit for the first time with like, and again, I'm speculating with the Jonathan Gannon stuff here, but he's going to be hit with like real football knowledge that is how all these other quarterbacks have operated for a long time. Because I know with Cliff Kingsbury, when I was there with him, it was very like, and I think Cliff has kind of adapted a little bit to the NFL with Jaden Daniels. I think it's a little bit different. I'm a huge Cliff Kingsbury guy, but his offense was very rudimentary and very like simplistic, and it's just like all these hand signals, and you can't communicate, operate that way effectively in the NFL. I think it worked at times for Kyler because his legs and his ability to get himself out of situations. But I don't think it's a way to live. And I think for the first time, once he gets this offense, he's going to be operating as a real NFL quarterback with a real understanding of the game. Um, I would say that I think you're spot on. I think you're probably going to figure out who the starter is. Maybe you give it one preseason game. But you're right. At a certain point, everybody has to start understanding, hey, who's the leader of this team? Um, I am I tend to lean towards I think the veteran. I think Kyler is going to probably win the job for a number of reasons. I think his athletic ability is something, and JJ's a good athlete. I don't think he's quite Kyler Murray. Um, I think Kyler's athletic ability. Kyler has a much better. He's a much better thrower of the football than a lot of people give him credit for. I always say that he was one of the best pure throwers of a football. He spins it really well. I think accuracy wise, he's more times than not very accurate. When you talk about the interceptions, I think those come from, do I fully understand the playbook and am I processing the information quickly, or am I still thinking about every single step and every single thing that I'm doing currently? And which
I
I
think
think
we
that's
saw that from JJ McCarthy last year.
oh yeah, oh my gosh, yes. I mean, 100%. And that's the thing that's what this battle is going to be about, who processes information faster, because it's not, as a quarterback, the most important thing you can do, and this is a cognitive ability that's a lot of people are born with that you really can't just train, is how do I see the information, interpret what I'm seeing, and then my brain makes my body move. And we're talking about milliseconds that lead to half a second that lead to a completion or an interception. And some guys can process information very quickly and some guys can't. And so it is a physical gift as much as people want to make it a mental one. Which I mean, I guess you could say either way. The more I think about it, but like it's a JJ did not process information quickly, and he also was put in a position at Michigan where he really didn't have to.
Right.
When you're in run first and then play action, the reason quarterbacks love play action is because I have A to B in terms of progression. I'm looking from 1 to 2 to my check down. When you're in a full field progression and you put JJ in, hey, it's 3rd and 7, and we have 4 guys out on a route and a check down, I think that's where you really saw him struggle, because it's like, okay, now I have to really identify this, dissect the defense, and then go somewhere with an answer. Um, I think to end the question, I think Kyler Murray ends up winning it. I think he has to, in terms of ability. And then they also, from an organization standpoint, this is where like a lot of people don't really, it's not always best player plays. A lot of the times there's decisions made so that people don't look stupid. And if you put JJ
Right.
McCarthy out there, confidence is waning, and he doesn't take a step forward, then you just wasted a number 11 pick, and GMs get fired for that. You have to hit on those picks. And so what I anticipate is let Kyler go out there, do his thing. If he plays great, great. If he doesn't, still kind of great, because then now I
Mhm.
can put the hopeful future of my franchise out there without any hit on his confidence, because like, as a backup quarterback for a while, there's nothing better than coming into the game, like, not that you want your teammate to fail, but like when I'm watching the starter not do well and then it's my turn to go in there, I'm like, it's a green light. Like, there's no pressure on me whatsoever. He couldn't do it, so like nobody's expecting me to be able to do it, and then I do it, and I look, so like that's kind of the
You bring
mindset that I would say.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. I mean, it's the easy thing to say, put in Kyler, and if everything's great, see, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
If Kyler's not playing well, it's an
it's
easy
a
thing to
win-win.
say. Yeah, it's an
Yeah,
easy thing to say, hey, we're going to go to the young guy. He's our future. It's not
yep,
working out with Kyler. He's not picking up the offense, whatever it may be.
yeah,
It's just not a good fit.
yeah,
Pivoting to JJ at that point, to see what he's got, whether that be to up his trade
right,
value,
yeah,
whether that be to make sure that we're continuing to develop him for next season,
yep,
whatever it may be. I think that you're spot on with that. And let's just touch on this, because I have a good question here, and this was on Get Up on ESPN, talking about which former Pro Bowl quarterback, which Kyler Murray was a former Pro Bowl quarterback, will
yep,
regain his form in 2026. And there's even talks of, comeback player of the year.
yeah,
Now, when we talk about Kyler Murray in this offense, obviously he's got some good weapons. He's also got, maybe different coaching staff, defense, some things to go around him that maybe he did not have in Arizona. And one
yep,
of the questions that I have from another one of our followers, Purple Dose Podcast, says, I would love to hear him speak about Kyler in Arizona. Was it an
yeah.
organizational issue, do you think, or a player issue?
And I'm not gonna be somebody that, one second, we have the music going in the background all of a sudden. Um, so I'm not going to be somebody that's I don't want to talk poorly about anybody, because that's never. I think there's a lot of positives to talk about here as well. So organizationally, a mess. I'll say that. I will give him that credit. When you're drafted number one, you're obviously drafted to the worst team.
Mhm.
So that's not great either. You're not drafted to a great culture. So it takes a special player, special mind, special leader to be able to pull an organization out of that. And I think to some extent he gave them a breath of life, but he wasn't all the way there. Like I'm talking, I don't think it's a secret. When you draft somebody number one overall, the type of player that takes a franchise from worst to first it's very rare. It's like an Andrew Luck. It's like an Andrew Luck that has everything. I mean, mentally, just like he comes in as a rookie, smartest guy on the field. It's so rare. I mean, with a Tom Brady level of understanding of the game, and they're not teaching kids in college that anymore, because coaches don't know what they don't know. They don't spend time on it. They don't. So they just stick to what the issues that arise and the things that they're going to see in the college game. So I think it was organizational. I also think that, like I just said, Kyler was not probably coached in a pro style offense. And then I also think that there's like just like anybody, I mean, and this is not exclusive to him. There's, I don't want to say maturity issue, because that's not what I'm getting at. He just needed to mature. He needed to figure out how to be a pro, how to operate in a pro locker room, one of the biggest things is
JJ
being a
needs to do
leader.
that as well.
Yeah, being a leader, gaining respect, all those things. And I think from JJ's perspective, I think for him, I think he is so much of in his mind, a leader that sometimes it comes off as fake and it's disingenuous and it's like way over the top. I think when you're somebody that kind of like falls into yourself and you're like, hey, let's. There was a lot of like, hey, throw an interception, go down. Hey, that's my fault, guys. My fault. Like third interception of the game. Hey, it's my fault, guys. Like at a certain point, nobody wants to hear that. Like there's a little bit of awareness that needs to come along with being a leader of like at a certain point, the guys are going to be like, dude, we know, we get it. Like, you don't need to come down the line and slap my freaking hand every single time that something bad happens. Like maybe once, maybe like, but there's probably a little bit of awareness that needs to come with JJ and then with Kyler. Yeah, to go back, I think it was organizational as well as maybe a little bit of growth. But I'm fully on board with, if you told me Kyler Murray was the comeback player of the year and like a Sam Darnold type for what the Vikings got a couple years ago, I would totally believe that.
Awesome. Well, I know that we're getting short on time here. So my third topic was talking about, I was going to go into some of the battles, but what do you want to see at camp? What should we look for as fans from your viewpoint? What should we look for as fans for this team in general and during the preseason?
Yeah, I think a quarterback separating themselves. Obviously, that's important. And I think that'll become clear and evident to everyone who has eyes. It's at camp. There's going to be a guy that separates himself. I think one of the things that you really want to see, I think the defense typically wins early and the offense wins late in camp. So I don't think there should be any panic in terms of, hey, offense started off the first 5 days or so slow. Defense it's harder to mesh as an offense than it is a defense. So I expect defense to win early. I think you're really hoping for sound protection. How do my quarterbacks help the offensive line? It's not just a blocking thing and the guys up front, but hey, are we in tune with how do we need to pick up a lot of these blitzers and rushes and pressures? That's a very important thing to see. You want to see splash plays. You want to see the fire from the offensive or the receivers and the DBs. I think you want to see defenses getting lined up quickly, understanding the shifts and motions that they're seeing. So yeah, I mean, you want to see in camp, you want to see, and your eyes won't lie to you. You want to see clean football, and you'll know it when you see it.
So we had health issues last year. Obviously, we hope we have a healthier offensive line, but just real quick, I know it's obviously, common sense tells me, a healthier offensive line and the chemistry is going to be big. But even at center, Blake Brandel, most likely starting for the Vikings this year. We went through, a few different center changes last year. How much of a difference or even struggle is that, even just changing your center for a quarterback?
Yeah, it's huge because not only do you have to like change your hand placement because everybody's arms are different lengths, and I mean when you have your center, it's like riding a bike, and then when you change centers, it's like you completely have to like from a just feeling the ball into your hands from under center, all that kind of stuff, it changes. But yeah, I would say from a trust standpoint, I mean, the center is the leader of the offensive line. He's making a lot of the calls. You want a guy that is obviously going to make the right calls. And in the NFL, I think you're going to get most of that. It's more so the perception, I think, from the team that, damn, we just lost our leader. But, so that's why it's important to have him on the field. But, center is luckily a position that, although you need to be a leader, you get a little bit more help there than everywhere else. So it's definitely tough. It's a tough situation. It's hard to say like one position or other. You'd rather have somebody hurt because you'd rather have everybody healthy. But no, it does make a difference in that quarterback center connection. There's things that he understands, like your starting center and your starting quarterback, that connection is important to have.
Now, we got to mention it because we saw it on social media, so you posted it. So
Yeah,
you recently, I shouldn't say recently, this has been a few weeks now,
yeah,
unless you've golfed with them more recently than that. But you went golfing with Harrison Smith. Obviously, we have a little bit of a depth issue at
yeah,
safety, or at least a concern that at least as a fan, we think that we have without having Harrison Smith. And we have a young rookie, Jacoby Thomas, that got drafted in the 3rd round,
yeah,
Jay Ward, and, we got Jackson. But, we'd like to see that last farewell tour from Harrison Smith. You
yeah.
went golfing with him. But before we get into that, what's your handicap?
Jeez, you're gonna expose me. I would say my best round ever, I think I shot like an 81, but I'm typically like probably like a 80, anywhere between 85, 95, depending on the
Okay.
day and how many drinks I've had.
Uh, I would say you're probably somewhere around a 15 handicap,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, I'd say so.
Let's say you're somewhere around there. All
Now
right, so
Harrison's one of the best golfers I've ever been around. He's crazy.
that's what I was going to get into. I've heard he's good. If for some reason you guys need a threesome, I did just hit a hole in one a couple of weeks ago, so
Oh man,
that was pretty
congrats.
exciting. But Harrison Smith, you went golfing with him. I'm sure you guys talked. I don't know if you talked shop at all, but
Yeah,
what's your feelings? You don't have to spill the beans, but
yeah.
do you think there's still some fire in Harrison possibly coming back? Are we going to see the Prince Batman signal and him coming back at some point this
Yeah.
season?
Yeah, I actually talk to Harrison probably daily. So I think in that instance, we didn't talk too much football and what's it look like coming back and this, that, the other. There is fire. I would say that he, just from a body standpoint as well as mentally, he's in a place where I think he's probably moved on, but it's also, I'll say this, I don't think, and I'm not promising anything, I'm not speaking for him. This
Yep.
is my
Not
guess based
expecting that.
on, yeah, this is my guess based on everything. I think that players hate training camp, they hate OTAs. Don't want to be there for that, especially veterans, guys that are Hall of Famers. They don't feel the need to be there. They know the system, they know how to play football. At that point in their career, it's about their body. So I think he's kind of somebody that would love to go through training camp in terms of get through it, not be there, go through a couple weeks of the season, and then evaluate where the team is at and can we make a run at it? Are we going to be a competitive team? I think if you're a competitive team, I think there's a chance that he is there at some point mid-year. Um, Otherwise, I think that he probably stays where he's at.
Well, I think that's a good synopsis of it. I think that's what we've kind of heard is, if we do see him, it could be after training camp or during the season. But I do want to thank you for coming on. Obviously, having some of your experience from your playing days, very, very cool to be able to talk to you.
Yeah.
We have, at least for this podcast, we have freed Kyle Sloter for at least this podcast. Kyle, any last words that you want to say to any of the followers out there?
No, I really appreciate you having me. Really appreciate any of the fans that I still have there in Minnesota. Every time I go back there, I feel like I'm at home. Yeah, just really appreciate the time and the opportunity to come on here and talk a little Vikings football. I miss it every day. So it's a big part of who I am. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, and like I said before you even got on here, you're always welcome to come on here, Kyle. We'd love to have you back again. And so whenever you just hit me up, we have a big game or something big happens and you want to come on and talk your mind,
Yeah,
you got a place to do it. So
absolutely.
thanks again, Kyle. Appreciate everything. Everyone else, please make sure, Two-Tone says, I would like to see him as soon as possible. Not to see if we're doing good or not. Yeah. We'd like to see you more on here, Kyle. So just let me know.
Absolutely.
Thanks again for all of our followers joining us today. Again, this is a former Minnesota Vikings quarterback, Kyle Sloter, the preseason GOAT, as one fan said in the chat. But yeah, absolutely, Kyle. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. And for Vikings Playbook, again, your Sunday starts here, guys. And we're always going to bring on good guests. But it's always fun when you can bring on a player like Kyle that can really give us some insight into training camp and just his experiences and his playing days. So thanks again, Kyle. For Kyle Sloter and for myself, Steve Hoikkala, this has been Vikings Playbook. We'll see you next time, guys.
Appreciate
SKOL,
you.
guys. Out here.